want to take a look, and I must stress, a fair and balanced look at the meteoric rise of Fox News host Glenn Beck, or at least how that is seen through the eyes of Dana Milbank of the Washington Post, who has a new book out. It's a book that is called Tears of a Clown. He's with us in the Washington Post studio today to talk about this new book. It's Tears of a Clown, Glenn Beck and the Teabagging of America. So, Dana, welcome to the broadcast. Why'd you decide to write this book?
You know, Bob, I did a column on Glenn Beck around the beginning of the year. I knew he was this phenomenon, but didn't quite understand it. And in the research for this, came across this Gallup poll, and Americans were asked to volunteer the name of a person they most admired. And Glenn Beck actually did better than the Pope, not to mention all leading presidents, even edging out you, Bob Schieffer. But the only person he didn't get ahead of was Nelson Mandela, and that one was pretty close. So I said, I need to know what this phenomenon is about. I mean, he's not just a broadcaster, he's an entertainer, he's a movement leader, and he really is, I think, the de facto leader of this Tea Party movement that has really taken the country by storm. So I think to understand that, you need to understand this man.
Well, where did he come from? I mean, he wasn't always this ideologue, was he?
Not at all. No, he's a sort of the morning zoo radio personality. He's been doing it since he was a teenager, hopped around the country, got mixed up in drugs and alcohol, became clean. But, a dozen years ago, he had a ponytail. He supported abortion rights. So it was sort of a radical transformation as he went from the morning zoo to being a conservative talk radio guy. Joined Fox News just as the economy was collapsing and the Obama was coming to power, and the combination was just perfect for him.
Did you interview him for this book?
No, but not for lack of trying. I think he saw the cover photo, which is him in tears, and probably decided that that wasn't going to be in his interest. So no, he declined.
Is that a real picture, or is that been Photoshopped?
It is a genuine picture. They're real tears. I can't say they're emotionally genuine tears. They put menthol under his eyes to produce the tears. This was.
How do you know that?
Because there's a video of it online, Bob. It was done for a photo shoot. Now he's known for his tear ducts opening up on the show, and sometimes using that quite effectively. And I don't want to say they're not always genuine, but in this instance, they're not exactly genuine.
When you said this is a fair and balanced look at him, did you mean that literally, or was that a little bit of satire or irony?
Well, yeah, I borrowed their slogan a little bit, but what I wanted to do is look at Glenn Beck in his own words. I'm not coming after him because he's a conservative. The book isn't written from a liberal point of view. It's just saying, what does this man mean? And let's look at the things he does. His doomsday rhetoric, the constant talk about violence, the constant talk about Nazis. What's different about Glenn Beck from everything else in our popular culture, and is the guy telling the truth? So I just tried to look at him in his own words.
It's interesting if one looks back at the history of this country. In hard times, odd, unusual characters come to the fore. Huey Long down in Louisiana, for an example.
Yep.
Do you think, is Glenn Beck a product of the Tea Party? Is he a product of hard economic times? Why do you think he was such an instant success? And there's no question that by certain yardsticks, he is a success.
Oh, a humongous success. And I actually did a comparison in the book, a chapter comparing him to Father Coughlin from the 1930s. Look, he was always a brilliant entertainer, but he's an entertainer, I think, above all else. And his role model, in a sense, is Orson Welles, who by his own account was a charlatan. But I think Beck saw where things were going and got out in front of that. And certainly Beck was around on the radio at CNN delivering an increasingly conservative message. It really didn't take off. He didn't get traction until there was the economic collapse, when people start to have a very negative view of the government, a real grim outlook on where things are going. That creates the possibility for somebody like Beck.
you really think he's sincere? I mean, it may be that he had some sort of an epiphany. Perhaps this is just a change, and he really.
Yeah.
Do you think he believes all of this, or is he, as you said? Do you think he's trying to just get out in front of something that was already moving that way?
Right. It's impossible to know for sure. You'd have to be inside the man's brain, and I don't want to say certainly that his religious conversion isn't genuine. I don't want to be in the position of doing that. We have certain clues. Like, for example, in September of 2008, he looked at the TARP bank bailout when Bush was doing that, and he said he supported it. He said the only problem with it is it's not large enough, and all those weasels in Washington know it. And for the last 2 years, the TARP has been at the very core of his argument that Barack Obama is taking the country into socialism. So there we have a very rapid change that seems to be a matter of convenience. But look, I mean, even if you're saying something that seems to you a little odd, if the guy's repeating it night after night, at some time you just adopt this as part of your character.
All right. Dana Milbank of the Washington Post. Thank you very much, Dana. The name
pleasure.
of the book is Tears of a Clown, and it is about the rise of Glenn Beck.